Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is time for Patch Notes 5.9. Joining me today will be myself down below as Ziggs. Playing some dirty old Ziggs against Azir, apparently. I don't remember this match. Oh, I do remember this match. He gets trashed. Anyways, patch is here, so we talk about the patch notes. What we're going to go over is obviously what is in the patch, and the changes, how important they are, whether they're life-changing, good, just quality of life changes, all types of stuff. So I don't think the patch is too crazy long, and I'm a little bit faster at getting through it than with a co-host, which the guys are just busy still. I didn't hear anything back from Bonus, who still has been kind of Mia, and Ranger is almost done moving, so he can almost find his camera. So things are happening with those guys. It's fine. They can take their time. We can still get things done, can't we? Although LCS Weekly is a little bit hard by myself. Not going to try to tackle that one. Definitely need a conversation piece for that. So 5.9, few things going on here. We get Ashe's Rework. That's one of the first things we'll see. But also champion diversity is something that Riot's looking into. We know Cinderhulk is very strong, at least on a competitive level in the LCS and worldwide stage. Now, when it comes to solo queue and just the game outside of everything else, yes, it's still strong. They will be addressing that. In this patch, and maybe even again in future patches if I had to take a stab in the dark at what Riot would do. We'll get to that in a little bit though. So let's just jump down to new attack move functionality. So the first thing off the bat is they haven't really changed it, don't worry, but they've added attack move on cursor. Basically, to summarize most of this up, basically if you click to attack someone and you're like a pixel off of them, instead of it, you know, autoing the minion right next to you, it'll go to wherever the closest thing to your cursor actually was. So instead of turning and clicking and missing the champion barely and hitting a minion, if you were close enough to clicking the champion, it's assuming you wanted the champion. So I think this is a good change. I'll probably be toggling it on and trying it out, seeing how well it works. So, yes, good thing. Changes to textures, yay, hooray. Let's get to the champion changes, though. First off, we do have Ashe and her rework. So, in general, her base attack missile speed has actually been increased. And just this is a nice quality change. Moves faster, looks better, all that fun stuff. The attack speed growth stat is actually going to be decreased, but this is because the rest of her kit will be fixing that. Critical strike damage multiplier, instead of 2, is going to be 1.1. But we'll get to why. So, her new passive, Frost Shot. Spells and basic attacks slow targets by a percentage based on levels. Yeah, at levels. I was reading the levels wrong. I was confused. For 2 seconds. So, fantastic stuff. It's great. She slows with lots of stuff. We like that. So, her Q, Ranger's Focus. Applying Frost Shot grants full focus for 4 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Activating Ranger's Focus consumes all focus stats, granting percentage attack speed and boosting Frost Shot slow by an additional 20% for 4 seconds. If all 5 stacks are consumed, Ashe's ability or Ashe's basic attack are replaced by a flurry of arrows, resulting in lots of damage. Yeah, I can't read today. That's okay. We'll just mess up on Ashe, then we'll be fine. So, cost 50 mana. The cooldown on it is 18 seconds. So, it's really cool. Looks awesome. And I like it. I think I just summarized it very well. All right, so on her W, this is her volley. Cost on that's going to be 50 mana instead of 60. This is still very similar. The cooldown on it is actually going to be shorter early on, and it's going to be the same later on in the game. Arrows fired is going to be 9 now instead of 7. And the missile width is going to be a lot wider. Enemies can now block multiple arrows, but will only take damage from the first. So somebody big and beefy up front will be able to eat a bunch of them, but only take damage from the first. So, but there's a lot more of them. So, and they have like actual width. So they'll hit you at further range when they spread out. So look out for that. Next we have the Hawk Shot. This is global now. So heads up for that. Now stores up to 2 charges upon reaching rank 2. Ammo recharge rate, there it is down below. It's a little bit longer early on than 50 seconds later on. Cooldown between casts is 5 seconds. This is going to be really good for scouting, especially globally. Pretty nice stuff. And it no longer has the gold regenerative passive. So, no reason to try to put points in this to get gold because you're not going to be getting it. And then on her arrow, her ultimate, is slow on enemies in the area instead of 50% is Frost Shot's current value. So remember that. Really looking forward to the Ashe rework. She could really use a little help. And we talked about some of the worst passives in the game not too long ago. And hey, look whose passive is getting updated. So good to see that happening. So next, we already have 2 kills, really? Already? 7 minutes into the game. Akali is next with her Crescent Slash. The cooldown on that is being reduced. There's some focus on this helping her clear waves later on in the game. Instead of 7 down to 3, it's 5 down to 1 now. So you'll be able to use this a lot more often. And then the ratio on it is actually going to be increased by 0.1. So she's going to get a little bit more use out of ability power on this, which is nice. And then her Shadow Dance, I really like this change a lot. Shadow Dance now dashes Akali through her target. Now, you can help yourself and hurt yourself with this. The quality of life reason that this helps her is she can proc the Q easier when they're running away. So she doesn't dash to them and for some reason they just escape and get a little bit more distance between them. She'll be able to land that Q really easily now, or at least get the proc off the Q. Now, the problem you might run into this and you need to be careful about is if you dash into someone and you're within the threshold of tower range. Instead of being on the back side of them now, you're going to be closer to the tower. Just be careful about that. It can also help you in the other direction too if you're trying to get out of tower range. So just pay attention to where you're going to be. So they've done this with a few champions. I know they've tweaked it back and forth on Katarina a couple times, and I think even on Zed too on his ult where he was going to end up popping up. But I like this change on Akali. Should help her out a little bit and get her snowballing once again. Next, we do have Annie in the patch. This is something I really do like. And I think they've even nerfed this once before, but her attack range is being nerfed. She has a lot of harass, and people could even run like 80 runes and just bully everyone out of lane because she could just bully out the enemy ADC because she'd have better attack range than half the ADCs. It made no sense. So this is really gonna shut down some of the lane harass that she has, and I think that's pretty smart, to be honest. So if you're a big Annie player, I'm sorry. Sorry, Kiwi Kid. It's going to happen. So, but it kind of is necessary. She had crazy range compared to a lot of actual ADCs that are popular. Like, then she outranged Graves and Sivir and Vayne and a lot of other champions. Like, not fun for them. So, next we do have Hecarim. Now, this change, I actually really like what Riot has done on this one. So, on his Rampage, they're going to make it cost more mana. So, this should slow him down in the top lane from harassing tons. Now, the reason they initially made it cheaper not too long ago was, I think, to help his jungle clear when they did. But now what they've done to fix this, now that it costs more, is now it'll deal full damage to monsters. So this puts more power back into him in the jungle. So as much as they will cost you more, you'll be getting the full damage now instead of, don't quote me because I don't know off the top of my head, but like I think his Q only did 60% of damage to monsters. So now it'll actually help him in the jungle and hurt him in the top lane, kind of switching his power back to primarily being a jungler. So, got the hiccups partway through that. Look out. Kallista's getting a change on her passive. No longer gains bonus distance when dashing backwards. So, she'll be a little bit easier to catch, I guess, a tiny bit on her dashing backwards. So, just look out for that change on Kallista. Who I once again will reiterate, as I have before, is terrible in the Cinderhulk meta, only because, as much as she can kite away from tanks typically, she doesn't build any crit. Unless you're building crit, then you're fine. But she typically won't be building crit, and she doesn't get through tanks. It's so sad. I've seen so many people play Kallista against Sion, Sejuani, Zax, and just like auto-attack them 60 times without a result. She consumes the... wow, can't think of the word, the rend damage, but it still doesn't kill him, or it doesn't even get close to it. We saw this happen this weekend in MSI. A Kallista just like went absolutely ham on a Sejuani with like 30 arrows in him and rended it, and it did like half damage. And it was like 30 auto attacks for half life. That's it. Like, ugh, it's crap. So build her crit for now if you're gonna play her. Just my 2 cents. Heads up. Next we do have Morgana, who I've been playing a little bit recently. Tormented Soil's damage is going to be lowered at earlier ranks. The damage, instead of it being 12 up to 40, is going to be 8 up to 40. So, little bit unfortunate. Probably not the end of the world, to be honest. This will make me question what to do a little bit. So, I was going to make a video updating her. I think I have some footage, maybe. I don't even know. I don't even know what I have. I want to kind of update her because I like playing her. It's easy to do. Anyways, maxing out her abilities, I've actually kind of changed around my priorities on that a little bit. I've been typically maxing out my Q second, not first. It costs too much in lane to max out first and miss. So keep it at rank 1. You still get the 2-second stun, and it's only 50 mana to cast, which is pretty helpful. Now, what I've been doing instead is I put up more points into Tormented Soil because you can zone people off. You get good gold from it too. If you hit both of them, they stand on it. So you can get a good amount of gold generated from your Spell Thief and all types of stuff like that. So I've been putting more points into Soil. Now, the other thing I want to bring up too, I think some people forget, depending on the lane you're up against, put a couple points actually into your Black Shield early on. Not just one, put a couple. Because Black Shield only is good if you can block all the magic damage. But if you're going up a actually magic damage heavy lane, it doesn't take much to blow up the Black Shield and then it doesn't do crap. So put a couple more points into Black Shield. And then now we'll probably still be putting points into Tormented Soil and maxing Q out second. But I'm going to think about that a little bit. But that's what the plan is for now. In case you're wondering, if you're a Morgana player. If you're not, cool. Next is Nasus. They fixed a bug where it could take up to 0.25 seconds to grant the bonus health on his ultimate. That would suck if that was what killed you. So now it's instant, which is good. Next we have Nocturne. I'll do like a little nice change to him since I did recommend him like a week ago for Badger's picks. Unspeakable Horror is E. It's going to get more base damage, which I think is going to help him on earlier ganks for sure. And it goes up a little bit higher, just 10 later on at rank 5. So, and then he also, his Fear Factor now works. The speed bonus towards scared targets now correctly works with ally champion fears as well. So just a nice little quality of life change there too. So, but good damage increase helps him jungle too. Why not? Next, we do have Olaf. Did just make a build for him, and I did hear something about this in the works before that build, but now it's even better. So, on his ultimate, it now grants him 50, 60, and 70% bonus movement speed towards enemies for 1 second. So now when he busts the ult out to just start charging in, he's going to get an initial burst, and I think this is really going to help him engage because he lacks a little bit of engagement. As much as he can't be stopped while he engages, he doesn't mean he can actually get there. So this will actually help him. 1 second is not like a ton of time, but it's a good burst to get him closer to where he wants to be. So I do like the change without them overcommitting to it. Renekton's next on his Ruthless Predator. It now grants 50 bonus range. So that's there. Self-stun on Empowered Cast. Instead of it being 0.75, it's 0.5 seconds. And then on his ultimate, same thing. Fixed a bug where it could take up to 0.25 seconds to grant his bonus health. So same thing as Nasus. Little change there. Helps him out, obviously, just if that was going to kill you. Because that would suck, as we've talked about. So, how are we doing? 3, 0, and 1, 15 minutes in. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Next, we do have Riven. Now, I've been playing Riven more lately for fun because I kind of want to update her video. I noticed it was old. My bad. Anyways, changed the Black Cleaver, put it on delay because I had footage. And the only other problem, too, with trying to make a video for Riven is they're all 20 minutes long. Everybody surrenders if you do good. So, and then long games, I don't know. Not that Riven sucks late game, but I don't feel like she's super impactful, like in the tank meta right now, like super late game. So if you did do good and your team loses, it's just like, ugh, that's not fun. So that's also a thing. In general, though, her movement speed is being decreased by 5. It's already fairly high. This doesn't bother me, let alone she jumps around more than she runs, so it doesn't really matter. And then her Wind Slash. Now this is a pretty big one. And this takes the power out of people praying for the last hit on her Wind Slash. And I'll be honest, I'd do it, because it's easy right now. So her Wind Slash missile speed is slower, meaning you can't just tag somebody at max range in a split second, which it shouldn't be that way. So this is going to start to show people who are ulting on time and missing their ults to just barely clean up kills. Takes a little bit of power out of Riven without actually hitting her numbers. So a pretty smart way to nerf a fairly strong champion. So sorry, Riven mains, but it was kind of bullcrap for you hitting Wind Slashes at like max range with it going 1,000,000 miles an hour. So now there are a few things happening to Ryze. He did get his rework last patch. So While stacking, his Arcane Mastery icon is gray to differentiate the charging from its ready status, so a little quality of life change there. Spell Flux no longer triggers single target spell effects such as Rylai's Muramana on instances of damage beyond the vest. Okay, whatever. And then they fixed the bug when casting a spell as Desperate Powers buff. Could not go on cooldown. Okay, so bug fixes. Summarized. Anyways, I did hear some talk on the forums, or saw some talk on the forums. Can't remember who it was at Riot, but they think he might need a little buff. So we'll see for now. I think they're going to kind of wait and see how the numbers work and see how people just acclimate to the changes and just hold tight on Rise is basically the bottom line. Hold tight on Rise. He's a work in progress. Just put it that way. But yeah, things. Tristana is next. Explosive charge, bonus damage per stack's gonna be 30% now instead of 25. And they gotta shoot fast. Cast time is now reduced by attack speed, which is kind of cool. So nice little changes to Tristana, because the unfortunate thing about her rework, as much as it's like actually pretty fun and she's great at pushing towers and doing the siege thing, the problem now is like she just feels slightly worthless because we're so used to like hyper carry Tristana previously. And there's other obviously hyper carries to play, but it just like you just don't feel the same as you did. So a little change just to help her feel better, which is nice. Trundle's getting some changes. His Ice Pillar is going to be more effective with a better slow percentage and a better knockback distance. So, very small quality of life change to Trundle. Better than nothing, but really I don't think that impactful. He is a tank buster, and we haven't seen him during Cinderhulk, which has been kind of interesting, but kind of makes sense because as much as he steals stats, it still doesn't seem like enough. They could just really buff his ultimate, to be honest, just to make it so he really crushes them. And then there would be a counterplay against tanks by using Trundle to counter a tank with a tank. It would be really interesting gameplay. So Riot, for the no employees of you that watch my videos, that'd be great if you could just buff the crap out of his ult just to specifically help create some counterplay against super tanks. Just an idea. Let me know how it goes. Next, we have Xin Xiao. His Crescent Sweep now applies a 0.75 second stun to knocked back targets. I think this is actually really smart, and I was actually, literally today, as I saw Echo's abilities talked about for a split second, I was like, we're going back and we're looking at all these new champions that do a handful of things, and what about some of these older champions that remind me of who he's going to become, but with worse kits? Xin Xiao's the first that came to my mind, actually. I was like, why can't his ult do something more creative? Or why? And then, funnily enough, later that day, he's getting a slight upgrade on his ultimate, which is really, really cool. Which is, like, really smart. Like, this is going to, I mean, not like the world's biggest change, but a 0.75 stun after you knock people back and you single out the target that you want, which is probably a carry, that's a good amount of time to get off another auto or let your team close the gap and kill them. So I really like the change. I think this is good. People may not really realize this going into the next patch, but surprise them. Play him and kill people. Do it. Do it. Do it. So next we have Zed, the Death Mark. Now has a 1 second cooldown before it can be reactivated to return to Death Mark Shadow. I mean, you can't just dive in and then dive out for like just to get the dot on him to see if that would kill him. Like, you got to be in there for 1 second is essentially what that means. So heads up. I don't know, I don't think it's gonna affect me too much, so prepare. So here comes the Cinderhulk change. Now the Cinderhulk has, like they're saying, it's got two big strengths. It's got scaling defense with a 25% bonus health and a lot of ramping ambient damage against champions. One of these things needs to be addressed because it's a little too strong. So they're going to keep the 25% bonus health because I'm going to be honest, the first thing I would have thought is Riot would try to kill off all the bonus health. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they take that down as low as 15, maybe 10%, which would suck, to be honest, and I don't think that would make the item even that viable at all. But I like where they're starting with the nerfs here. So instead of taking away that bonus health, which is probably the most important stat on it, in my opinion. This next stat was really important, but overpowering. So what they're doing is you still get your bonus damage to monsters, but you won't have that against enemies. So your base damage, instead of it being 16 plus 1 per champion level, magic damage scaling up to 24 plus 1.5 per champion level magic damage, it's going to be 15 plus 0.6 per champion level, and that's it. So it's not going to scale up as hardcore, you're not going to have as much of that damage against them. So when a Cinderhulk jungler actually gets in a brawl against a brawler, it should go way more even instead of the Cinderhulk jungler just finishing their item off, dealing that much more damage to them. So I think this is a pretty smart change, but it now deals double against damage to monsters. So it's still good, and it's going to work even better in the jungle to jungle, but now it's not going to be as strong on those early ganks and those fights where having that item finished was just too much damage and too much health. It was a combination. So I like the change. It's good. And it makes sense. So the other nice change that they are also doing is Skirmisher's Saber. So instead of completely removing it or doing something super crazy, what they've done is they've taken 2 seconds off of its duration. So we won't see it in top lane as much. Although this does kind of hurt it in the jungle, and it no longer reduces incoming true damage from challenging from a challenge target. So they remove that. So theoretically, taking this in top lane now with certain top laners instead of Ignite, it's not going to really have as much of a good trade-off as it did. So, as they said, who can use challenging smite the best in top lane? This is going to be less of an issue, and we probably won't see it in top lane a ton. You might still see it a little bit, because I can see some places where it might be viable because of the decrease, but overall, actually just replace smite completely because of the 6 seconds of that debuff, no. Which is good. I'm glad they nerfed it this way. It kind of makes sense. So, that is the Skirmisher Saber. Next, on Summoner's Rift, we actually have Dragon, who's going to have a little bit more attack speed and a little bit more base damage. So, just look out for that. He attacks really slow. So, yeah. Small change. Abyss, match history stuff, small bug fix stuff. Bard unable to do things. Chroma's not working in Team Builder. VFX for Cassiopeia. Bugs. We get it. Samsung skins come out today when you see this video. So Samsung white skins are coming out. Look forward to them if you want them. We also will get the rest of the the royal skins, or whatever they're calling, with the Ace of Spades Ezreal, King of Clubs Mord, Queen of Diamonds Syndra, and Wildcard Shaco. So those are fun. And then we also get Star Guardian Lux, which, by the way, is fancy as shit, and also looks really freaking cool in game. Like, really cool. So buy it if you want it. Although it's Lux, who's not the greatest. I mean, she's fun and she can do a lot of damage, but she's just not like how she used to be, which is sad. How sad. So, that though, right there, is in fact going to be the patch notes. Rather quick, rather dirty. This game's already over. I'm 9-0-9 at this point. We're gonna kill him on the, oh my god. Kill him on his base. Kill him on his, do it. There, got him. Get wrecked. So, that's patch notes. Let me know what you guys think about the patch and if you're gonna get any of these skins. But yeah, patch notes. Thanks for joining me. Hope you had a good time. And I will see all of you guys next time. Bye.